In the early 2000s, if you were a high-flying executive, a politician, or a Wall Street banker, you carried a device that looked like a pager and a typewriter had a baby. This was the BlackBerry, the first true crackberry that kept the world connected via email before the era of constant social media. It was the gold standard for enterprise communication. BlackBerry, originally founded as Research in Motion or RIM, changed the way we worked. Before them, mobile phones were for voice calls, not data. BlackBerry figured out how to compress data so emails could be sent and received securely in real time. By 2009, they controlled nearly 50% of the US smartphone market. The secret sauce was their infrastructure. BlackBerry operated their own servers, ensuring that your emails were encrypted and delivered instantly. For a corporation, this was a massive advantage. It wasn't just a phone, it was a secure productivity tool that IT departments could easily manage and protect. But while BlackBerry was busy perfecting the physical keyboard and corporate security, a storm was brewing in Cupertino. In 2007, Steve Jobs walked onto a stage and introduced the iPhone. It didn't have a keyboard, it didn't have a stylus, and it didn't focus on enterprise email. It focused on the consumer experience. BlackBerry's leadership was famously dismissive of the iPhone. They argued that users would never give up the tactile feel of a physical keyboard. They believed the iPhone was a toy for consumers, not a serious tool for business. They doubled down on their core strengths, battery life, security, and buttons. Then came the app revolution. BlackBerry was built for communication, but the App Store changed mobile phones into handheld computers. Suddenly, developers were flocking to iOS and later Android to build games, tools, and social platforms. BlackBerry's operating system was outdated and difficult for developers to build apps for. By 2010, Android entered the game. It was free for manufacturers to use, leading to a massive flood of devices from Samsung, HTC, and Motorola. BlackBerry found itself squeezed on both sides. The iPhone dominated the high-end consumer market, and Android devices captured the mass market. BlackBerry was left in the middle, losing relevance. Internal culture also played a massive role in their decline. BlackBerry had two CEOs, Mike Lazaridis and Jim Balsillie, who often had conflicting visions. While they were arguing over hardware design, the tech world was shifting toward software-first strategies. They were essentially a hardware company trying to play in a software-driven game. They tried to pivot with the BlackBerry Storm, their first attempt at a touchscreen phone. It was a disaster. The hardware was buggy, the software was unstable, and it frustrated customers who had previously loved the brand's reliability. It proved that they were playing catch-up rather than innovating. As their market share plummeted, BlackBerry attempted a total overhaul with the BlackBerry 10 operating system. It was sleek and modern, but it was too little, too late. The ecosystem of apps was still far behind, and by then, the Bring Your Own Device movement, or BYOD, was taking over offices, allowing employees to bring iPhones to work. By 2016, BlackBerry officially exited the hardware business. They stopped making phones entirely, choosing instead to focus on software and security services for businesses. The company that once defined the smartphone era effectively became a software firm, leaving their hardware legacy behind. The lesson here isn't just about bad technology, but about the innovator's dilemma. BlackBerry was so focused on serving their existing, highly profitable corporate customers that they failed to see how the consumer market would eventually dictate the enterprise market. They listened to the customers they had, but ignored the customers they were about to lose.